This is Dunamis. This is your boy. Yeah, we're looking at the 2005 NBA draft. We looked at we had looked at 2004 last time, 2003. We looked at 2009. So you could go check back at those other videos. Um, Interesting drafts. Uh, this draft, let me see if it was in New York. Yeah, this was in New York as well. A lot of these drafts, having them in Madison Square Garden, I guess that brings a little bit of the lights to it. Uh, making it an event, making the drafts an event. Um, Here, wasn't like one of those drafts with like a huge. Wasn't one of those drafts. Um, wasn't one of those drafts with like one of those like a huge name like where everybody knows like, okay, this is the guy that we're expecting to be like a franchise pillar, a franchise player, anything like that. It wasn't one of those kind of drafts. Trying to get the lighting a little bit here. Let me let me try this. Maybe that's a little bit better here with the lighting. Dunamis. Yeah, so we're gonna look at this draft. So Andrew Bogut. Andrew Bogut, Australian big man. He was probably about 6'11" or so. Played at the University of Utah. Left after his sophomore year, it says. Good player. Ended up winning I would say a few titles with the Golden State Warriors. Playing with Steph and Draymond and um Steph and Draymond and Klay Thompson and those guys. I really don't remember him much with Milwaukee. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's see what he averaged early in his career. Yeah, he averaged a lot more with Milwaukee. 15.9, 10 rebounds, 11.7 points, 10 rebounds. So he was getting double doubles with Milwaukee. Averaged 2.6 blocks in one season with Milwaukee. Was good at like setting screens. Is good at like a lot of the little things when he went to Golden State, right? Obviously his role is gonna change with those scores. And also I believe, starting in the 2010s, the game started changing. Like just the game of basketball itself started changing. So having a center who's gonna score, score, score wasn't really as much of a thing in the 2010s, but in the early 2000s it still was, right? We looked at Al Jefferson in the last draft. So Andrew Bogut, number one of the better players in this draft. Um, Marvin Williams, number two, won a title at UNC. Played with Rashad McCants. Played with Rashad McCants. Played with not Rashad McCants. Yes, Rashad McCants. Uh, Ray Felton, Sean May. Right. It was the beginning of the Roy Williams era at North Carolina. Marvin Williams was a freshman, and he was one of the starters of that one and done era. Like if you guys remember, now, I mean, well, if you guys know now, like a lot of people go one and done, right? But he was one of the starters of that one and done thing, right? Just freshman came in, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't necessarily like the number one guy or number one option on the team, but he was a guy. And anybody who jumps in here, feel free to let me know in the chat your thoughts on this draft. Um, Feel free to like, feel free to sub. You can check out some of the other videos, always putting out shorts and things of that nature as well. Um, yeah, Marvin Williams, he was probably what, about 6'8". Wings are always highly coveted, a guy who could defend, you know, a guy who was athletic, right? So you can always use a wing like that. Um, the Atlanta Hawks were an athletic team. Him, Josh Smith, um, Al Horford, like good defensively overall, and they ended up being one of those teams in the East, right? With Joe Johnson, with Paul Millsap later on. The Atlanta Hawks being one of the staples in the of this era, in the Eastern Conference. Joe Johnson, very underrated player, doesn't get the respect, but the guy was an 8-time All Star. I don't know very many 8-time All Stars who are not in the Hall of Fame. So Joe Johnson probably needs to get that love. You know what I'm saying? Marvin Williams, yeah, all ACC, 11.6 rebounds, good team. Had some good years with Atlanta, 14.8 points, 5 rebounds, a steal a game. Good athlete. Marvin Williams, North Carolina. Growing up, I was a big North Carolina guy, so shout out to them. Let me see here. It's not my normal location, but trying to make it work here. Trying to make it work. All right. So we go next we have probably one of the pillars of this draft, a guy who was an all NBA guy, a guy who I enjoyed watching in college, a guy who was an all-star, multi-time all-star. I believe he was an Olympian as well. Darren Williams. I feel like he defined this era of point guard. Kind of like just stepping out of that Steve Francis, Baron Davis era. Not to say that they weren't in the league, but that like ultra athlete era, and like into more the cerebral, like game guys who like controlled the tempo, point guards who could shoot it. That it's like solid point guards who just really excelled, and I feel like Darren Williams was that. Darren Williams at the University of Illinois. He left after his junior year. Darren Williams was a bigger point guard, stocky, strong body, big body guard. You know what I mean? Could get to the rim, could hit the three. Probably, like I always say, a lot of these guys would have excelled in a 3-point shooting era. He was an underrated athlete, probably a better athlete than people gave him credit for. Played well with the Nets as well. Yeah, University of Illinois. He was a good player, man. From Texas, 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Did he play in the Olympics? Yes, he played in 2008. And thanks for the like. I appreciate you. Anybody who likes what we got going on, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to check out some of the shorts. Feel free to check out some of the older videos. D Will, D Will played with Luther Head. If you remember Luther Head at University of Illinois, if you remember D Brown from Proviso East, you know, Proviso East and Chicago kid. Grew up playing with Shannon Brown as well. Shannon Brown, who went to Michigan State and played with the Lakers and all that. So Darren Williams, man, he had a dope career, man. 3-time All Star, 2-time All NBA second team. Just a really really good player. Played in Turkey for a little bit. Darren Williams was one of those guys who really defined that era. He was like the next guy after John Stockton, right? Um, I would say the number one, the guy in this draft, one of the greatest point guards that ever played this game. You got to look at your boy Chris Paul, CP3. You know, Winston Salem's own. Like what Chris Paul has done for this game, the way he understands the game. Like if you look at Chris Paul's resume, like it's one of the craziest resumes like you're ever gonna see in sports, man. For a guy who's maybe 6 feet and a half at best, 6 feet or so, I believe. I would like to see his pre-draft height. Let's check his pre-draft height. I feel like that's interesting because height with smaller guys, people always want to get into height, but I believe he was probably no shoes, like 6 feet, at least 6 feet and a quarter. I know I'll be able to find it without shoes. I know I'll be able to find it because his era. Ew. Okay, so I'm wrong. He's 5'11 and 3/4. I'm seeing multiple things. I'm seeing multiple things when it comes to it, but I think like NBA.com. Let's see, Chris Paul. All right, Chris Paul, 5'11 and 3/4. They're listing him at. I appreciate the like. Feel free to let me know any comments. I don't know if I'm not seeing the comments. I'll try to jump on so I could. Let me check on my computer just in case if anybody's saying any comments. I don't want to ignore it. Appreciate everybody jumping on. Let me know where you're from. If you have any thoughts on this draft, etc. Okay, yeah. So he's 5'11 and yeah. So basically he's about 6 feet tall. Okay, so Ray Felton, another interesting dude. I appreciate people jumping on. Let me see if there's any comments though. I appreciate the sub. Whoever subbed, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any comments right now. Yeah. So, yeah, just let's look at Chris Peasy, Chris Paul, CP3. We could look at some of what he's done in this game. I would say probably a 10-time All-Star, multi-time All-Defensive guy. Probably doesn't get enough credit for what he's done defensively. Obviously, CP3 has been clutch. If you remember the years where he was with, he pretty much was taking every team he was on to the playoffs. I don't know if he's missed the playoffs in a healthy season, other than last year, right, when he was with the Warriors, and I wouldn't even consider that a healthy season. Um, he was taking those New Orleans Hornets. They were New Orleans Hornets back then. The Rockets, him and James Harden. James, and they had that year where they were if he didn't get hurt, they probably would have beat possibly could have beat Golden State. But then the next year they didn't, right? But I would love to see him get a title. You remember he took Phoenix to the NBA Finals. So shout out to Chris Paul. Played for Wake Forest, 2 years at Wake, dominant, straight up dominant. But I do want to say something. I do want to say this. I did not think Chris Paul was going to be a great NBA player at that time. So I was definitely wrong on that. And I'm not right on every player that I evaluate. And I would definitely say if there's a guy that I always remember that I was wrong on, Chris Paul is number one. I was 100% wrong. I did not really see it. I don't know. Maybe I couldn't really see the shooting. You know what I mean? But he did shoot the ball well in college, so it was just an error on my part. Um, Evaluating. That was me. That was my fault. Ray Felton out of Latta, South Carolina kid, played for the University of North Carolina, won that title with Marvin Williams, um, Rashad McCants, Sean May, all those guys. They were a formidable team. Roy Williams, one of the greatest coaches of all time, led them to the title back to North Carolina prominence. They had some down years at North Carolina, but I feel like once Roy Williams got back there, he brought them back to where they should be. He was drafted by Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan was with the Bobcats. Um, the year before 2004 draft. If you watch that video, you can go back and watch it. Michael Jordan and those guys drafted Al Jeff. Was it? No, there wasn't Al Jefferson. Who did they draft in that draft? We talked about it. I can't remember right now though, to be honest. But I remember we talking about Charlotte Bobcats, who they drafted in the 2004 draft. Maybe I'll go back and look at it in a bit. Ray Felton, good point guard, strong build. Definitely a point guard of his era. Um, when he was young, he was really fast. That was like Ray Felton's thing. He was super fast, good athlete. In high school, I remember watching his film in high school, just dunking and just speedster, right? And Ty Lawson was kind of like the next version of him. We spoke about Ty Lawson in the two. Nella, how you doing? Nella, how you doing? Out in Switzerland. Oh, did you catch Real Madrid? Did you catch Mbappe and them boys? What'd you think? So number 6 pick, Martell Webster. I feel like on these, if you watch a lot of these videos, you'll hear me talk about the state of Washington and how underrated their basketball is, right? All the great players, Doug Christie, Jamal Crawford, 2-0. Okay, there you go. There you go. Shout out to Real Madrid. It might be your year. It might be your year again. Shout out to Real Madrid. It's gonna be interesting when it's El Clasico. I know you're gonna be ready for that. Gotta have your popcorn ready. Martell Webster, man, he was a good wing player, man. Good wing player. Seattle guy. Long tradition of Seattle guys can shoot the ball. Again, two things I always say: Washington players underrated, and I also say that guys from that era, would have done well in this era because the 3-point shooting back then, you weren't taking as many threes. But in 2015, when Steve Kerr implemented that 3-point shooting with the Golden State Warriors, it was on and popping, and it was all and it's never been the same since. A lot of the analytics guys and kind of changed it. Keep sell back. Keep sell back. Dang, I can't really. That's impossible. That's literally impossible. Man, Mbappe is probably maybe the best player in the world right now. I mean, for me, Haaland. I probably put Haaland at number 1. Even though his teammate had a really good year last year, but out of those 3, man, it's tough. Can I keep them all 3, or do I have to choose? Those are legends right there, and Mbappe is like a young legend. Martell Webster, yeah, he was a good player. Maybe I would have maybe liked to see him get drafted to Phoenix, because Phoenix was a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of that shooting. Maybe even Sacramento. But shout out to Martell Webster. Shout out to Seattle. Charlie Villanueva. Okay, I'll do it like this. Charlie Villanueva, the Dominican legend, New York guy. Ah, shoot. Hold on. Ah, man. Crap. Dang, the grass is getting cut outside. Oh, man. Yeah, one time on every Villanueva, man. He also went to Blair Academy with Royale Ivy and Luau Dang. Since today, Thursday, I'll start Messi, uh, bench Ronaldo, and sell Mbappe just because of the careers that those guys have had. Tomorrow on Friday, I'll start Ronaldo, bench Messi, and then sell Mbappe again. And then Ashby in 5 years, and then I'm gonna keep Mbappe and so and bench the other two. Yeah, no, no. What about you? Who are you going with? That's a tough one for you. 'Cause being from Portugal, you know Ronaldo's your boy, and then Mbappe is on your team. I like to hear your opinion on that more than mine. You probably have an interesting take. In the USA right now, it is 6:11. Yeah, it's just getting into that evening. What time is it over there in Switzerland? Charlie Villanueva, UConn guy, good player. Probably would have benefited also in the 3-point shooting era. Could shoot it. Solid athlete, solid build. Um, yeah, pretty good player. I like it. He was a good player. Definitely reminded me of that era. Let's see back on his best years. I feel like I remember him more with Milwaukee for some reason. Won the title in '04 with UConn. So in '04 with UConn, it was him, Emeka Okafor, or Emeka Okafor as people would say, um, Ben Gordon. Wow, you would sell Mbappe. Wow, that's messed up. That's messed up. I'm just messing around. Yeah, you gotta go with the legends. You gotta go with the legends. Nah, it's gonna be a good season. It's gonna be a good season. Channing Frye. Um, Channing Frye, another one. Played at that. Played at Arizona. That good Arizona team. Oh, 12. Oh wow, super late for you. Hmm. Dang it, super late for you. That's all right. You're probably more of a late sleeper then. You're probably a late sleeper. Yeah, no, I could understand that. Yeah, they've been doing it for so long. They're like legends of the game, for real. I saw you you think Ronaldo should come to the MLS, or you think that Saudi Arabia money is too good? I love seeing guys come to the MLS like Suarez, Marco Reus, just FC Galaxy, Gareth Bale, another one of your people, Gareth Bale. Um, he won it for at Los Angeles. Channing Frye, another guy, tall guy, 6'11", 6'10" ish. Played at Arizona with Salim Stoudemire, Andre Iguodala, Hassan Adams, right? That was a loaded team. They never won the title, but they were right in the mix at Arizona with Channing Frye. And Channing Frye was a shooter, man. He was a shooter before like the stretch four thing was really a thing. Um, Marvin Williams was probably like a 3 and D guy before the 3 and D guys were a thing. Ike Diago. So shout out to him. Played for the Knicks, Channing Frye. I feel like he probably had some good years. He probably won a title with Cleveland, but had some good years with Phoenix. I feel like Phoenix was a good fit for him. Um, he's a Phoenix kid. He's an Arizona kid. Went to St. Mary's High School in Phoenix, which if you remember, Jared Bayless. So we'll might have to do the 2008 draft. Jared Bayless was one of my favorite players in high school. Used to love watching him play. Yeah, he had some good years with Phoenix. Did he win a title? Yeah, won an NBA title in 2016 with in 2016 with the Cleveland Cavs and LeBron and them boys. Ike Diago. Yeah, Neymar should definitely come to MLS. Oh my gosh. That would be sick. MLS game. They should just run it up and put all of them on the same team. Ike Diago, my Nigerian brother, my African brother. He was an automatic bucket at Arizona State. Probably a little undersized. They probably have him at 6'8". I don't know if he's whatever 6'7", 6'8", whatever his height was. He was just one of those inside guys that could just get it done. Um, Guy of his era. Today he probably have to extend the range a little bit. Extend Harry Kane. I feel like Harry Kane should come to MLS too. Harry Kane, like he wants to be in America. I feel like he's an American in his heart. Um, Ike Diago, yeah. Yeah, I feel like a little undersized, but he was good. He had the footwork. He had the footwork, man. He was trying to see what his best year. He was fairly consistent everywhere. He had 9 points, 3 rebounds with Sacramento. So Ike Diago, shout out to Ike Diago. He was a bucket in college though, straight up bucket. Andrew Bynum. Andrew Bynum, man, like Andrew Bynum is an interesting one. Oh, nah, and Harry Kane. He should stay over there for a little bit more. He's still in his prime though. I would have liked to see him stay at Tottenham with Sam, but they just could never get over the hump. Andrew Bynum, another guy, tall. He's probably like what 7'1", 7'2", like at 7 something. Guy with good footwork, you know, nimble. Um, Darn, soft hands. Played with Kobe. Man, became an all star. Became an all star. Um, Man, you know, probably maybe some off the field, personal things maybe kind of hurt the trajectory a little bit for Andrew Bynum, but I mean, he was a title guy. He was an all star. He was really good. Like he could shoot it. He could just really do everything. He's a two-time champion, All NBA second team. Like just a good player, man. He made All NBA second team in 2012, but didn't make the All. Oh no, he did make the All Star team. Yeah, he was good, man. He was good. And playing with Kobe's gonna bring the best out of you. You know what I'm saying? If you're able to handle it. 18, 11 boards, almost 2 blocks. Multi-time champion. Like you gotta respect it. Andrew Bynum from New Jersey, St. Joe's Metuchen, in that Central Jersey area. If you remember, Jay Williams, who played at Duke, was also from that school. Fran Vasquez. I don't know if I really remember him. From Spain. didn't end up playing in the NBA. His draft rights were just renounced. Interesting. His draft rights were just renounced um last month. He got drafted in 2005 and his draft rights were renounced last month, July 6th of 2024. So, super interesting one. Yeah, yeah. Bayern Munich. Yeah. No, no, no. I respect that. Yeah, I think yeah, I don't think that's a bad move. He's probably gonna Harry Kane's probably gonna score a lot of goals out there. Um I think it's gonna be, kind of the way Lewandowski did. Lewandowski when he was there. Um Lewandowski's gonna score a lot now, but I would like to see Lewandowski get a Ballon d'Or or Ballon d'Or. Um I would like to see him get Player of the Year. Um, Yaroslav Korolev. These are really high picks to not like play in the NBA. Played with the Reno Bighorns and the Albuquerque Thunderbirds. So he plays in the. Oh no, he played in the NBA for 2 years. Oh, for the Clippers. Okay, I do not remember him at all. Yaroslav Korolev from Russia. I do not remember him. Looks big, like a big dude. Big man. Hmm. 6'10", thin though, thinner guy. But shout out to him. I do not. I don't know. Had some good years. Let's see. Finished in 20. Russian Cup winner. What league is this? Narove in France. Okay. Played in France. Yeah. I mean, shout out to him. I'm not familiar with him though. But good career overseas though. Um, do I think Ronaldo could play basketball? No, I don't. I don't think basketball is his thing. Um, I feel like most soccer players are not really the best basketball players. Um, nah. I mean, they would probably be fast though. I feel like a lot of those guys would be fast. They would probably need to get like the dribble together though, learn how to dribble the ball. Um, Ronaldo's the greatest of all time. Yeah, I can't hate on that. I can't hate on that. He he just mastered that style. He get those penalties, get those kicks. Guy still has the fitness to be able to do it. Um, and he's making what 300 million or something. Sean May out of North Carolina, another guy, third North Carolina guy drafted in this draft. Marvin Williams, third guy so far. I believe Rashad McCants also in this draft. So four guys in the first round, but they just came off a national title. Sean May, big man, probably like 6'10". His father was a player as well. I don't know if his father played in the NBA, but father was a player. Um, Charlotte Bobcats. This was another Michael Jordan pick. So he's staying home from North Carolina to yeah, that dude makes a lot of money. Um, who else makes a Neymar? I think is over there, isn't he? Isn't Neymar over there? And the guy from what is he Moroccan or Algerian? Uh, Who's another player over there? That played in Europe, big time player. I can't remember his name right now. Um, Sean May. Yeah, just Neymar, right? There's another one though. Um, Not who I was thinking. No, give me another one. I think he was a Ballon d'Or guy. No, no. I think he was a Player of the Year guy. He's like Algerian or like North African, like Moroccan. I'm just forgetting his name right now. Mm-mm. Nah. Um. Yeah, Sean May was a good player. I feel like probably in this era he probably would have been shooting the three a little bit more too. Came off that great North Carolina team, and then his other I'll probably look. I'll probably look. Give me a second. Rashad McCants, another player off that North Carolina team. So the fourth player, Rashad McCants, and Felton. Rashad McCants, 6'4", two guard. Um, had some solid years with Minnesota. Um, Played in the Big Three. Played at the New Hampton school. I don't know if he's from New Hampshire though. Yeah, he's originally from North Carolina. Um, can you look up the last few Ballon d'Or winners? Like he probably won it in like 2019 or something. The guy I'm thinking about. His name is just escaping me right now. Um, Let me see. Let me see if I can look him up. He might not be playing there now. Maybe he's not. Benzema. Benzema, that's who it was. Benzema. That's who I forgot. Yeah. I think he won Ballon d'Or. Could be wrong though. Benzema. He's not playing over there? Van Dyke, yeah, Van Dyke's really good. I don't know. Is Van Dyke not in he's not playing Van Dyke he left? Van Dyke left Liverpool? Um Yeah, Rashad McCants, deadly scorer, great in the mid range, strong build, strong upper body, good athlete. I feel like he was very much a player of that era. Um, Mid range bully, 6'4". Like that team was really good. Like they honestly resembled that team with like they were almost very similar to the team with Wayne Ellington. Like he played kind of the Wayne Ellington role. Ty Lawson played the point guard role. So like Roy Williams kind of like rebuilt the same team that won it in '04, and he rebuilt that team in '09. But you could check out the 2009 draft video to see some more of that my take on some of the North Carolina guys. Antoine Wright out of Texas A&M, kind of similar to Rashad McCants, really good scorer. Maybe a little bit taller than Rashad McCants, maybe about 6'5". Let me double check. 6'7". Um, yeah, good scorer. Played with the Nets for a few years. Dallas. Yeah, really good scorer at the college level. Um, he was one of those guys. Yeah, I mean, I probably would have liked to see him in the big three. You know, probably would have liked to see him in the big three. But I feel like both the Rashad McCants and Antoine Wright are guys from that era. Like, you know what I mean? Those. Oh, Benzema won it into 2022. Antoine Wright. Yeah, similar. Yeah, similar to Rashad McCants. Very much like an early 2000s player. Good player, strong build. Joey Graham. Uh, I feel like he probably played with Tony Allen, who we looked at in the other draft video. Tony Allen, like I feel like Joey Graham, his twin brother Stephen Graham, like tough wing defenders, probably would have been 3 and D guys in today's era. Um, to be honest, so I played a few years ago in a pro am tourney, out in Tampa, and I can't remember which Graham brother, if it was Joey Graham or Stephen Graham, but one of my players took a picture with him. I'll know. Nah, it wasn't Joey Graham. I think it was Stephen Graham because Stephen Graham was a coach. Fun fact: Stephen Graham was a coach in the D League, as it was called back then. And one of my players who was on my team for that, who was on our team for the pro am, he was coached by Stephen Graham. Um, yeah, my one of the player ended up getting like a 10-day contract with the Chicago Bulls. He was really good. He played at Syracuse. Um, he played at Syracuse for Jim Boeheim. He was like their leading scorer. Really good player. Really good player. CJ Fair. CJ Fair was his name. CJ Fair. Good athlete. Shout out to CJ Fair. Um, multiple Baltimore guys. Carmelo Anthony, another Baltimore guy who played for Syracuse. Um, Dante Green. Dante Green was kind of in the mold of Carmelo Anthony. Played at Towson Catholic. Also, played at Syracuse. You know, a taller, long range bomber. It says Herman Harried and Michael Lloyd were also players from Baltimore. I don't remember them though. Who are my favorite artists? I don't listen to a lot of like mainstream music, to be honest with you. So, uh, the artist that I've been playing a lot lately is a guy named Forrest Frank. I like Forrest Frank. Like mainstream artists. Have you heard of a guy named NF? I don't know if you ever heard of NF. Um, who can I say that's famous? Sia. Do you know Sia? Uh, I'm like titanium. Dun, 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 dun. Sia? No, never heard of Sia. Oh, Sia. Oh, you got it. Sia is good. Your favorite is Kendrick? Yeah, I think Kendrick's the best rapper. I think Kendrick's the best rapper. Um, yeah, I think he takes his time with his projects. Like Chandelier. She has a song called Chandelier. I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna swing from the chandelier. From the chandelier. Nah, that's a good song. For tonight. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, yeah. Good song, good song. See it's big. Um, who's another one? Try to think of somebody who's more, I guess, more popular. I guess. You ever heard of Pink? Yeah, I'm sure you knew. I'm sure you know the song. Yeah, I'm sure you know the song. Have you ever heard of Pink? I think Pink is good. Oh yeah, huge hit song, Chandelier. Yeah, I know you know the song. Yeah, Danny Granger from New Mexico. He might have been a little bit ahead of his time. Danny Granger was built like a strong dude, man. That dude 6'7", 6'8". They probably have him listed at 6'8". New Mexico, the Lobos, man. Who was the coach at that time? Who was the coach? Was it Lon Kruger? So we're looking at 2000. Richard Pitino is the coach right now. But I'm trying to go back to 2005. 2005. It might have been Altman. Uh mm, you're probably you're probably a little younger. That's probably why some of these people don't resonate. I'm trying to let me think of somebody who's more current. I don't know if there's anybody who's current that I'd like really. I mean, definitely not listening to, but like that I would really. Who else do you like other than Kendrick? Steve Alford. Yep, Steve Alford was the coach at this time. 2005. Yep. Shout out to Steve Alford, man. Steve Alford was an Indiana legend. Steve Alford was an Indiana legend. Played on that 1984 Olympic team with Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, and them boys. Danny Granger was a killer, man. He was a multi-time All-Star, really good defender, like a good defender, I would say. Yeah, oh, one-time All-Star. I thought he made more All-Star teams than that. Um, he was kind of like the guy right before Paul George. If you remember, before Paul George got there, Danny Granger was like he was running the show. 25 points a night, 5 rebounds, getting a steal a game, a block a game. The next year, 24 points a game, 0.8 blocks per game, 1.5 steals per game, 5 rebounds, 2.8 assists. Like he was like a good like offensive player, defender. Like he was like a 3-and-D guy before it was cool. Like look at his shooting splits. 25 points a game, 44% from the field, but 40% from three. He was shooting 40% from three before it was cool. Shout out to Danny Green, man. Did not get enough respect from his era. Yeah. Let me know your top 10 all-time players. We know Ronaldo's number one though. We know Ronaldo's number one though. Which is fair. Which is fair. He played for Real Madrid and he's from Portugal, so you can't really go wrong with that. Gerald Green was a highlight reel. Remember him in the McDonald's All American game. Remember him in that McDonald's All American dunk contest. NBA dunk contest guy. He was kind of similar to J.R. Smith to me, similar to J.R. Smith. Could shoot the three ball and could really super athletic, freak athlete from Houston, Texas, man. Dude was something else athletically, man. He was something else athletically, man. Gerald Green was different. About 6'7". Had some good years with the Celtics. Um, man, played on a lot of teams. He could probably still be playing in the NBA right now. I hope he's with the big T or the big three or something. Oh, he's on the player development. Says he's cousins with Danny Green. Yeah, Phoenix had some good years with Phoenix. 15 points, 40% from three. You know what I mean? Similar to J.R. Smith, like shoot the three ball and super athletic, man. Big W. Big W. Uh, who won? Um, Gerald Green. Shout out to Gerald Green, man. Tough player from his era. Tough player from his time. Hakeem Warwick. 6'8", good athlete, really long arms. I would love to know what Hakeem Warwick's wingspan was, man. That dude won the national title with Carmelo and Jerry McNamara. Unfortunately, Jerry McNamara didn't make the NBA. Maybe he was a victim of his time. Maybe at that time people weren't comfortable, wouldn't have been comfortable drafting him. But I feel like he could have played in the NBA. Hakeem Warwick, I believe, was a Maryland guy. Um, Gotta look up his wingspan. Good athlete, would dunk it on your head. 6'9". Oh, he's from PA. Okay, so he was from Friends. Friends Central. Friends Central also produced Mustafa Shakur. Who he has a drink company now. He has like a sports drink company. Um yeah, shout out to him, man. I always thought he was from Maryland. I don't know why. I think McNamara's from Maryland. Um Memphis Grizz. Like I feel like he had a few years in the NBA. Hakeem Warwick, long arm dude, guy that will put it on your head, man. Won that national championship. Stayed till his senior year, so became a first team All American. Big East Player of the Year 2005. Like good college career, solid NBA career. Let's look up his wingspan. I feel like it had to be 6'9". I'm gonna say 7'1" wingspan. That's just my guess. Wingspan. There we go. 6'9" height, 7'1" wingspan. Like the dude's wingspan was insane, bro. Hakeem Warwick had the insane wingspan, bro. Julius Hodge. Interesting. I was just reading that Hakeem Warwick got the scholarship offer at Syracuse because Julius Hodge went to NC State. Julius Hodge, man, that dude was a New York dude. Um, yeah, he has some interesting stories. Interesting stories about his recruitment and everything. Um, how he got to NC State, but I just feel like he felt like the coach was a dude that he could really rock with. Um, I remember him definitely in college. You know what I mean? Um, During that ACC era, Ray Felton, him, Chris Paul, um, a lot of good players. Troy Bell at Boston College, Chris Duhon at Duke. So a lot of like good guards at that time. Reese at number 8. Wow. Who who's R9 or who's R9? Herb Sendek. Herb Sendek was the coach back then. And then Sidney Lowe got it. Who's the coach right now? Kevin Keats. Okay. Shout out to Kevin Keats. Shout out to Kevin Keats. Yeah, Julius Hodge, man. Skinny guy, probably like 6'6". Played well against played with Denver. I remember he used to go up against Kobe a lot. Had to try to stop Kobe, which is virtually impossible. Kobe was like a mid-range genius. Julius Hodge could handle the ball, had like a tall ball handler, good defender. like a really good glue guy that fit well with like that Carmelo Anthony era of that Anthony era of Denver Nuggets basketball. Shout out to him, one of the best players in North Carolina State basketball history. Woos R9. Nah, I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Woos R9. At number 21, we have Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson. Oh man, Nate Robinson, defined this era of college basketball for me for sure. I spoke about it in the video discussing Isaiah Thomas. Again, gonna go with that theme of the Washington State players. Nate Robinson was a guy who originally went to the University of Washington to play football. He was a cornerback. Um, Ended up playing basketball as well. I remember when he caught a tip dunk against NC State. Actually, interestingly, Julius Hodge from NC State was drafted ahead of him. He caught a lob against NC State, and then from then on, I was always following him. 5'7" and 3/4 with no shoes on. The guy was a menace, man. Really, really good defensive player. Averaged 18 points with the Knicks. Ended up having a really good career. Ended up. Okay, yeah. I have to check Woos R9. Yeah, I would have to check him out. I don't know who that is. I would have to Woos R9. I have no. I'm not even sure what that means. Yeah, I don't even see anything when I look up that Woos R9. Mm-mm. I don't see anything. R9. Confused on that. Well, you got me on that one. I'm confused. I looked it up. Still don't know. I don't understand it. Might not be clued in. Yeah, Nate Robinson, man, went to played at the University of Washington with Will Conroy, Trey Simmons, Brandon Roy. They were a really good team. Um, really good team in that era. They were the Pac-10 back then, I believe. Before they were the Pac-12. Obviously, they're dissolved now. There's no more Pac-12 anymore, which is kind of sad. Just a legendary conference. Legendary conference. Yeah, just one of those University of Washington players. Had some good years with the Knicks. Probably wasn't expected to go in the first round, honestly. But Isaiah Thomas was the GM with the Knicks at the time, and he made some picks that people weren't even really expecting. Ronaldo Balkman being another one, but I think Nate Robinson turned out to be a really good player. Won a few dunk contests, so shout out to Nate and prayers for Nate. Prayers for Nate because I know he's struggling with I don't know if it's a liver disease right now. Really, really struggling. So prayers for his family, for him. In Jesus' name, amen. Because yeah, strong guy who may maybe in certain ways shouldn't have even been playing at that time, and just maybe neglected his health a little bit more, and the body just gave out on him. But I feel like he's a respected human, a great player. Um, Shout out to him. Jarrett Jack. Jarrett Jack played a lot of years in the NBA. He could probably still play right now. I hope he's playing Big Three. Georgia Tech dude, 6'3" point guard. Um, from DeMatha. He played at a few schools. A lot of the like the I'm not sure the same Vincent Pilati, but Mount Zion Christian Academy, where Tracy McGrady played. Worcester Academy, which was like one of those big prep schools back then. He was a good player with Portland. Played on a lot of different teams. Lasted in the NBA for a long time. Played with the G League Ignite. I remember him on the G League Ignite with who else was on there? Was it Jalen Green's year? Jalen Green. Um, my man with the my man with the Golden State Warriors right now. My African brother from the Cameroon. Jonathan Kuminga. I think it was the Jonathan Kuminga year. Yeah, 2021. Yeah. Shout out to Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know what Golden State's gonna do this year. Ronaldo, Fenomeno. Oh yes, Ronaldo. Yeah, yeah, the other Ronaldo. Sure, 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 sure. The other Ronaldo. I thought you put him on your list already. Oh no, you didn't. The other Ronaldo. Sure, sure, sure. Ronaldo. Oh, that's what you mean by R9. Okay. Yeah, Brazilian Ronaldo. Got you, got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great player. Great player. Legend, legend. Yeah, I didn't know he was called R9. But yes, Brazilian Ronaldo. Great player. I would say he should be on the top 10 list. I like your top 10 list actually. So for any soccer fans, I'll go through her top 10 list real fast. Um Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo number 1, Messi number 2, Neymar number 3, Ronaldinho definitely needs to be on the top 10 list. Iker Casillas, Mbappe, Tony Cruz, Marco Reus. Wow, that's high. Harry Kane and Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo. Cool, cool. Um, okay. Jared Jack, yeah, just another one of those ACC point guards. Tough ACC conference at that time. Look how many guys from the ACC are drafted in this draft in this first round. A lot of them. So shout out to the ACC from that era, crazy era. Really good college basketball era. I feel like Big East was really good at this time. Louisville with Francisco Garcia. I feel like I spoke about him like earlier in another video, but yeah, Francisco, um, Dominican Republic, legend at Louisville, man. 6'7", played with the Sacramento Kings, had some good years, could shoot the ball, like a bigger wing, feel like he probably played hard. You don't play for Rick Pitino and you don't really play defense. So shout out to him. Shout out to Luther Head, the other guy from the Luther Head was first round pick. Nice, 6'3" ish, from Illinois. Played with Darren Williams. Played with D Brown. That was a really fun team. I really liked watching them when they were in college. That crew, that crew of those three, Darren Williams, D Brown, Luther Head. Luther Head had some good years with the Houston Rockets. Good shooter. Um, All rookie second team, yeah. Just a good player, really good college player. I feel like that three guard lineup that they did at Illinois really worked well, and they all played hard. I feel like they all played defense. They all played defense. Johan Petro, yeah, shout out to Petro. I feel like he had a good international career with France. Played with the Nuggets. Yeah, won a few titles. 10 years apart though with France in the French league, 2004 and 2014. Wow, Johan Petro. Shout out to Petro. Jason Maxiell, man. Jason Maxiell. Definitely a guy from this era. Had some good years with Detroit. I feel like he's another guy with like a really long wingspan. He wasn't super tall. He was maybe 6'7", maybe 6'7", but a guy with like a super wingspan. But he was like played at Cincinnati. He was a Bob Huggins. Bob Huggins, the coach. He was a Bob Huggins guy to the T. Like tough guys, gonna rebound, gonna play defense, gonna play hard. You know what I mean? Play hard. Um, Respect. I mean, first round pick. He's another guy. I want to see what his wingspan is. I would say 6'7", height, wingspan 6'11". That's just my guess. He was the year after they won the title. He was drafted the year after the Pistons won the title. Jason Maxiell, wingspan. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, around 6'7", 6'6" and a quarter, which I think is makes sense. Jason Maxiell 7'3" wingspan. Wait, no way. 7'3" wingspan. Like I just remember, like the wingspan was crazy. 7'3" and a quarter wingspan. That's crazy. Shout out to Jason Maxiell, man. Tough guy. Tough guy. Tough guy. Perfect for Detroit though, right? You remember Detroit in that era? A whole bunch of defenders. Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace. He was the straw that stirred the drink. He was the epitome of what they were at that time. This draft was like really good with the second rounders though. Linus Kleza, really good score from Missouri. Really good scorer. Could score his butt off. Played in Denver with Melo, J.R. Smith, Earl Boykins. If you remember Earl Boykins, Earl Boykins was what 5'4", 5'5", little guy, but could hoop his butt off. Marcus Camby was on that team. I'm trying to remember who else was on that Denver Nuggets team at that time. Uh, yeah, 11 points per game. Good score, man. Good score. I don't know if he lives in the United States now, but shout out to Clayson, man. Mahin, Mahinami, Mahimini. Yeah, big man from France. I feel like I remember him more with like Indiana, probably. Good, like strong build, 6'11". Yeah, Indiana Pacers. Yeah, that's probably where I remember him more. Won a title with Dallas on the 2011 team with Dallas. That was a crazy year. They beat the Big Three with Bron. Uh, who was it? Bron, Dwayne Wade, and who else was on that Big Three? Uh, Chris Bosh. Yeah. So shout out to my my enemy, Wayne Simeon. Wayne Simeon, man. Oh my gosh, Wayne Simeon. That really takes you back. He was definitely a guy from this era. Was Wayne Simeon. Um, Wayne Simeon, man. Probably like 6'8". Inside guy, like one of those guys who was like a college kind of legend. Like I feel like there was a few of those college legends. Really good at Kansas. I think he was on the national title team. Nick Collison, um, Kirk Heinrich, and I feel like maybe people didn't feel like he was like a super high draft choice kind of guy, but this was a different era. So like today, like being a big time, respect to him though, great player, um, great college player. Like today, like he was like, what was he, All American? Like he was a great college player, but like all those great college player, you know, All American, this, that. As I was saying in other videos, that doesn't really matter today. Like that won't get you drafted in the first round because you had a great college career. Um, yeah, won an NBA title in 2006 with Miami. Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't. Yeah, won the Lowe's Senior Class Award as the top nation's top senior. Like great college career. Um, David Lee. Honestly, if you would, yeah, I don't. I'm confused why some drafts have. Can somebody explain to me why some drafts have 30 picks in the draft and some have 29? Because this is another one with 30 picks in the first round. Like, I don't get that. I feel like Jimmy Butler was like the 30th pick. So like when does it like change between like first and second round? Like that's weird. Like I never like, I don't understand that. This computer, man. Um, Not my favorite. It's not my usual spot. People know me. I'm usually in a different spot, but it's all good. Can't be mad. Oh, okay. So there's usually 30 picks, but some certain years teams are docked a second round draft pick. Okay. That's so weird. So weird. There we go. We learned something new. Certain years there's less draft picks if people get docked. David Lee. Shout out to your boy David Lee from Florida. I feel like he played with Corey Brewer. That was a Torian Green. I feel like it was that era of Florida basketball. If you remember in the chat, let me know. The next era was like Al Horford, um, Joakim Noah. You know, that era where they were winning back-to-back titles. Salim Stoudemire, another guy from that Arizona team, drafted with the first pick in the second round. Related to Damon Stoudemire, the who played for who was rookie of the year, I believe, with Toronto, drafted by Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, you know, he make so Damon Stoudemire was a really high pick, really really high pick, but great player. Followed in the footsteps of Damon Stoudemire, went to the University in Arizona, lefty shooter, had a good career, great career at Arizona. Did well for the Atlanta Hawks shooting those threes. Daniel Ewing, Houston guy, Texas dude. Had a good career at Duke. Another one of the Duke guys that was drafted in this draft. One of those Duke guards. Another one of those ACC players, I should say. A lot of very ACC guard heavy this draft. Daniel Ewing, good defender. I feel like could shoot it. Good player. Drafted by the Clippers, man. Feel like he had a long, just a good career, like overseas, and just a good player. Stopped playing in 2019. Sure, he's doing a lot of good things. He just seems like one of those guys, a smart guy. Not just basketball, just smart guy, life in general. So shout out to Daniel Ewing, shout out to Duke, Brandon Bass, and LSU dude. Big body, strong dude. Played with the Celtics, if you remember those Celtics years. Brandon Bass, man. I liked LSU. Tassim Mitchell. I don't know if y'all remember Tassim Mitchell. Played at LSU too. Brandon Bass, probably like 6'7", 6'8", strong guy, mid-range guy. Like to do his damage in the mid-range. So shout out to him. Played 2 years at LSU. CJ Miles. You got to remember, this is 2005, so high school kids were still coming into the NBA. This draft wasn't as heavy with the high school kids as the 2004 draft, which was loaded with high school kids. This draft so far, off the top of my dome, the people that we mentioned that I remember were CJ Miles, Martell Webster. Like, this draft was a lot of college guys. Andrew Bynum was another high school guy. Not a lot of high school guys, though. People maybe felt like, you know what, I'd rather go with some of these older, more experienced dudes. That might be a better look. Let's see. CJ Miles, man, from Skyline. You know, Dallas, Texas, man. Dallas, Texas produced a lot of really good players. You got Chris Bosh. Texas is good in general, but Chris Bosh, Julius Randle, Larry Johnson from South Dallas. So a lot of like good players. Skyline is like legendary though. I feel like Skyline's like a legendary high school in Texas, in the Texas area, in the Dallas area. If you're a hooper, you got to go to Skyline, man. Or at least at that time. So get some more guys from Skyline who were good hoopers. Look at the notable alumni. Marcus Garrett. Larry Johnson. There we go. Larry Johnson went there. Spud Webb went there. The Huon brothers. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of Marcus Garrett, though. Zach Ledee. I don't remember him. Marcus Garrett is now playing. He played at Kansas, playing with the Greensboro Storm, played with the Miami Heat. Yeah, so shout out to Skyline, man. Shout out to Skyline, bro. Ricky Sanchez from IMG Academy. Drafted at 17 years old. I'm trying to remember him. I think he played in the NBA though. Sure, he played with the Puerto Rican national team, but had a good career in Puerto Rico, I think. Ersan Ilyasova with the Milwaukee Bucks. Good Turkish player. One of those guys, I feel like he could stretch the floor. Like a taller guy who could stretch the floor. Remember him with the Bucks probably most notably. Myself. Played for a long time. Last played in 2021 with the Utah Jazz. So yeah, shout out to Ilyasova, man. Ilyasova. I feel like that's a good second round pick right there. That's value at that second round. Had multiple years averaging double figures, 14 points a game. Like very, very underrated pick. Probably should have been a first round pick in this draft, honestly. 10 points with Milwaukee, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 13 points, 8 rebounds in 27 minutes a game. Stretched the floor, had you career 36% 3-point shooter. Shot 43% with Utah in a limited amount of games, but still 44% with Milwaukee. Like Ilyasova was nice, really good player. Probably should have been a first rounder. Like if we're doing this draft over, gotta draft in the first round. Ronnie Turiaf. He was doing a lot of stuff with the French national team. I'm sure he's happy to see them get the silver in the. Probably would have wanted them to pull off the gold, but happy to see them get the silver in the Olympics. Ronnie was good, man. Gonzaga legend. I feel like he was like Blake Stepp, him, Adam Morrison. Like there was a lot of really good. Oh yeah, Ricky Sanchez. Definitely remember Ricky Sanchez. Yeah, definitely remember Ricky Sanchez. I'm looking back at him. Yeah, man. Ronnie Turiaf, Gonzaga legend, man. One of those guys are from Gonzaga where I felt like helped put Gonzaga on the map, right? Before, like this was back when Gonzaga wasn't a household name like they are today, I would say. You know, Gonzaga was not at this time wasn't like there weren't years where they were like ranked number one. They were still like a Cinderella darling type of team back then. I mean, now you look back almost 20 years later, and Gonzaga is always like a favorite for the national title. Gonzaga's not a big school. It's not in a big conference. They're in the WCC, the West Coast Conference, right? Them and St. Mary's have turned that conference. Have done a really good job, and they raised the level of play. Everybody just has to compete with those guys. So shout out to Ronnie Turiaf, good years in the NBA. I believe he won a title with the Lakers as well. Travis Diener. I'm probably finish this draft later, but ended off with Travis Diener. Orlando Marquette guy. I believe he played with D Wade at Marquette. I believe probably played with Steve Novak at Marquette. He was a smaller guard, was really good in the TBT as well. So shout out to Trav Diener. Good guard, good player. One of those guys that just knows the game and just had a really good career. So shout out to Travis Diener and had a really good career in the TBT too. All right, God bless in Jesus' name, amen. Probably come back in a bit.